I would say that right now, Blackout is one of the most popular things around in the gaming scene. If you're not familiar, it is the new Battle Royale mode attached to Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and honestly, it's a lot of fun. It's fast paced with good mechanics and it's addictive. For the most part, Treyarch, the devs, have done a great job achieving what they have, but it's not all perfect. There are definitely a few things that I think need addressing to make the overall gameplay experience that little bit smoother. It's almost there though. Right now, one of the biggest complaints is about the inventory management and looting system. I'd say this is especially annoying on PC, but I have heard some console players find their system a bit clunky too, but they are slightly different. First of all, when you find loot on the ground, you have to press either square on PS4, X on Xbox or F on PC to pick it up by default. That in itself isn't much of a problem, and when you're running around early game you can pick stuff up pretty fast. You don't even need to look at it in fact. The problem comes though when you've got say multiple items in close proximity and you're trying to get one in particular, let's say ammo, but instead you change weapon or pick something up that you didn't want. This happens quite a lot to me, and it can become quite annoying at times. Not as annoying as trying to loot a dead body though. When someone dies in Blackout, they leave behind their bag. You need to look directly down and press F to open it up. On console, you get a small menu pop up where you can scroll through and pick certain items. On PC, it's more of a block inventory, and once you've played the game a bit, you do get a bit faster at picking stuff up, but it's considerably slower than say looting in a game like PUBG. In PUBG, if you're pretty efficient at the game, you can just run over to a body, press tab on PC, and just drag items across super fast and then carry on the move. But in Blackout, you first need to look directly down at the bag and press F. On occasion, you might end up picking something up that another teammate has dropped around the bag, but once you eventually get into the bag, it's just a bit of a click fest, to be honest, to get what you want. After that, you end up in a situation where you perhaps need to go through your inventory again to sort some more things out. If you see a weapon you like, but you've got all the attachments on your current gun, right now I move away, drop them all on the ground by pressing middle mouse, switch weapons and pick them all back up. I honestly found this to be the most efficient way of doing that. So it would be nice to have a system whereby if you change weapon, the attachments are actually put into your inventory if you've got the space. That could definitely make changing weapons considerably easier. When it comes to the loot system though, I do think it needs some sort of vicinity or proximity system, and that could aid in certain situations where pressing the pickup key is too fiddly. The next thing is PC specific, because for some reason the console version of the game already has this. On console you're able to use a key to switch between certain medical items and gadgets on the fly. Say for example you've got 5 medkits and 10 bandages. On console you can scroll through them with the D-pad to decide which one is active, without having to go into your inventory to do it. The same for gadgets, you can essentially scroll through them all. This makes perfect sense, as you don't want to have to go into your inventory on console to switch them out, because that will just slow you down. Sadly, and for reasons I can't understand, this is not available on PC. If I want to change from a medkit to a bandage, I have to first open up my inventory and select the medkit. Same for gadgets. I can't just change from a grenade to a concussion or to my grapple hook on the fly. And this makes certain situations really annoying, having to consistently go into your inventory, and I can't quite understand why this is missing. It wouldn't be so much of an issue if there were hotkeys, let's say for certain gadgets like grenades and medical items on PC, just like there is on PUBG. So certain keys like 789 for bandages, medkits and trauma kits for example. Whatever it may be, at the very least we need to be able to scroll through them on the fly. I've also seen suggestions that ammo should be automatically picked up, and say for example you went into a dead player's bag, it should just auto pick up the ammo that you need for say the gun that you have. I personally don't think that would be a problem, and it would at least be a quality of life change, but David Vonderhaar, the design director, shot this down because he said they tested auto ammo pickup and they found that it just ended up with players running around with full ammo all the time, and that didn't really make for an interesting experience. So I understand his thoughts and reasons there, so auto pickup is probably off the cards. In that case, the pickup system needs a lot of refinement. Back onto healing items though, can I ask you guys a question about the trauma kit? Is it too strong? I'm not saying it is or it isn't, I'm just asking the question. I just feel at times that the trauma kit is a bit unnecessary. An extra 50 health combined with level 2 or even level 3 armor is incredibly strong. Not only that, but it's the only healing item that takes you back to full health and beyond after one use. I'm not sure it's truly needed in the game, especially when players are using them in the middle of gunfights. But what about this? When you use a trauma kit, it will get you to 150 health instantly, so the current maximum. Rather than taking you straight to 200, it instead slowly ticks up from 150 to the maximum of 200 over time. And if you take damage before it gets to 200, it will stop. And this means that you can still have the benefit of the trauma kit, but it isn't quite as powerful as it is now. Maybe this item doesn't need any changes at all, and everyone is already really happy with it, and that's fine, but I do think a few tweaks to it wouldn't harm its usefulness. Moving on to sound, I think the sound balance, and to be honest, the sound in general needs a bit of work. The playing is too loud at times in my opinion, remind you of another game anyone, and more importantly, player footsteps are inconsistently loud. I often feel as though I hear someone behind me and it's just a teammate or even my own footsteps, so they definitely need looking at and seem quite inconsistent to me. I don't think that everyone is running around with dead silence all the time. And can we also get a slightly quieter noise for when the armor breaks? It sounds like someone smashing a plate and deafening at times. Is that just me? Maybe, but I think it's a bit too loud. And of course, level 3 armor, we've got to talk about this too. It has been changed since the beta, so it's now far more rare to find. You can still come across it randomly in the world, but not very often. The other places you can find it are in supply drops or crates. In Blackout, level 3 armor will reduce incoming bullet damage by 55%. Just take that in for a second, 55%. Not only is it the only armor in the game that will protect you from headshots, so we get it, it's extremely strong, but it gives you reduced damage from explosives and fire too, and it adds resistance to 9 bangs, concussion and razor wire. So you're going to be able to absorb more damage, you're going to be way harder to push using certain grenades. Let's say for a second that's all fine and we've got no issue with that. Well, imagine combining that level 3 armor with a trauma kit. That gives you 200 HP plus all of that damage mitigation. You now take 55% less damage, you've got protection against headshots, and you will get less effects if someone lands a 9 bang on you. I think all of those things together are a bit too much. Does the armor really need that extra protection against concussions, razor wire and 9 bangs? I don't think it does personally. Also, is the combination of trauma kit and level 3 armor a bit too much when they're used together? Of course, you still need to go for headshots, they're really important, and if you land good headshots on someone with level 3 armor, you will definitely take them down, but I just think certain combinations of items might be a bit too strong when used together. A quick word on the kill cam too. It's great that we've got a kill cam in the game. I mean, this is Call of Duty after all, so I suppose it would be a bit of a surprise if we didn't have one, but I have to say that this one is lacking in overall information. The kill cam shows you how you were killed, so that's great, that's its primary goal. But I think it lacks key information like the player's health and armor. Often when you get killed, you might want to know how much damage you actually dealt to that player. You might be thinking, man, I hit that guy for a lot, let me see his health. But for some reason, the player's armor and health aren't on screen. So I think that needs to be added in. Not only that, but it would be great to see what active perks or consumables they had. You might get sneaked up on and think, wow, I really didn't hear that guy. But you see the kill cam and maybe he or she had dead silence on and then think, okay, well, that makes sense. I just think the kill cam is a great source of information to understand what happened to you, when you died and why you died. And a bit more information on it would be great so you can watch that back and maybe figure out ways that you can improve for next time. Also, why doesn't the game have a round ending kill cam? It's COD, it totally needs that. I want to see the last kill of the game, whether I get it or not. Overall, I'm having a ton of fun with Blackout, and for the most part it's really the inventory that's the most frustrating thing. I should mention though that during the beta it was found out that the game was running at 10 tick rate, and I do often notice some weird hit registration at times, but it's hard to put that down to tick rate because when you die you can't see the enemy's player health or armor like I said, so I'm reluctant to blame any server related things yet, although there's definitely been some discrepancies between what happens on my game versus what I see in kill cams, and also taking damage from players you can't see but they can see you on your screen, let's say corner peeking or jumping up on a roof. I think the netcode could be improved quite substantially here, so I'm hoping that they can do it. Let's be real here, if the rumours are true and people have done their own testing, 10 tick rate is not really good enough for a multiplayer game in 2018. They need to do better. With that said, Blackout definitely has the possibility of being one of the best BR games, and if Treyarch keep updating it, I'm really interested to see where this goes. And that's all for today, guys. Do let me know down in the comments below, are there any things that you would change or tweak or update in Blackout that you think would improve the overall experience, and do you agree with the things that I've said here? Let me know down below, and really appreciate it, guys, if you could leave a like. That would be amazing if you enjoyed the video, of course. If you didn't enjoy the video, dislike it, not a problem. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.